Have you ever heard these words? Thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become habits, habits become character, and character becomes destiny. In short, a person's thoughts ultimately determine their own destiny. It seems deep, but it's actually a very simple idea. A person's thoughts influence how they live their life. When you realize this truth, it may already be too late. That's the story for today. My name is Rebecca, and I'm 54 years old. I work as a part-time housewife. I've been married to my husband for 30 years, and our 2 children are already independent. We spend our days together as a couple. You're retiring soon, too. I said this to my husband during dinner. My husband, who is 3 years older than me, will retire in 3 years. He has been working as a banker for about 35 years since graduating from college.
Well, when it comes to retirement, it used to be common to use the retirement bonus to pay off the mortgage and prepare for life after retirement.
That's right. It was common to pay it off all at once with a large sum of money.
But now, it's not like that.
Oh, really? According to my husband, there are very few companies that offer retirement bonuses of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's good if you can get tens of thousands of dollars. In addition, there is the problem of needing $200,000 for retirement, and more households want to keep as much cash on hand as possible. I listened with great interest to my husband's story, which was very much like that of a banker. What should we do about our house?
Well, it's a waste of interest, so why not pay off a certain amount at once? We can save on living expenses to pay off the remaining loan. Fortunately, I can work as a contract employee even after retirement.
It's really reassuring to have a husband with a strong sense of money. You're dependable, I said to my husband as I poured him a glass of wine. One day, some unusual guests came to our house.
Hey, Rebecca, it's been a while,
said my 6-year-older brother and his wife, Annabelle. I think I must have made a face when I saw them. They were unpleasant people, but I didn't say anything. What brings you here in the middle of the day on a weekday? I asked. Annabelle spoke up right away.
Actually, we just built a new house, so we came to get a congratulatory gift.
A congratulatory gift. It's really rude to come asking for gifts. I'm sure you all agree. But these people think it's normal, so it's a problem. Come to think of it, these two have been greedy for money since they got married. When they got married, I was still college students, and my brother said to me without any shame,
you're over 20 now, so you're an adult. Give us a gift, whether you're making money or not. Going to college as a woman is a waste. You should use that tuition money for our gift instead.
Even my parents were flabbergasted by my brother's greed. I thought no one was more greedy than my brother, but I was surprised to find out that Annabelle was just as much of a miser. They talk about money all the time, even during Christmas and New Year's.
Rebecca, how much do you make? What's your husband's bonus? What kind of assets does your family have? How much is your father getting in pension?
Annabelle asked. There was a web service that was popular recently that analyzed people's brains just by entering their names, but I can imagine that if they entered their names, the word money would be all over the place. They're such vulgar and uncivilized people that I only deal with them when I have to. And yet they're asking for a congratulatory gift for their new house. Wait, new house? I heard that my brother retired at 60 this year. Annabelle seems to be working part-time, but... this might sound strange, but did you get a proper loan for your new house? When I asked, my brother replied.
Loan? There's no such thing. I bought this house with my retirement money and the inheritance from our parents.
What? It turns out that my brother used his retirement money of $80,000, his savings of $140,000, and my sister-in-law's parents' inheritance of $250,000 to buy a house.
I've been living in a rental for a long time, and I wanted to experience living in a house. A new house is definitely nice.
Yes, it's really nice. It's much cleaner than this old house. It's barrier-free, and we'll be secure in our old age.
However, I'm terrified of such a gamble. But you still have 5 years until you start receiving your pension. Don't you think it would be better to have some savings for your old age? When I said that, my sister-in-law looked at me with contempt.
You're such a worrywart. We've thought about that kind of thing.
At that moment, my brother and his wife had a creepy smile on their faces as they leaned in close to each other. What are they up to? I found out what they were up to a month later.
Rebecca, your dad collapsed.
I received that call from my mother during my lunch break at work. My father was fine when I called him a week ago. Why did this happen? I told my workplace what happened and immediately headed to the hospital. When I got there, my husband was already there comforting my mother, who looked haggard and had slumped shoulders. How's Dad doing? When I asked, my husband explained instead of my mother. My father collapsed in the bathroom and was taken to the hospital unconscious. He was diagnosed with a subarachnoid hemorrhage. He underwent surgery immediately and is still being treated. I see. Did you tell my brothers?
Yeah, I did, but...
My husband hesitated. What happened?
Well, they said that they had to talk about the inheritance before his condition. So, they went to the law firm to consult with a lawyer instead of coming to the hospital.
What? How much of a money lover are those stupid couples? My father is still alive. Of course, he is in critical condition, and there may be a chance of the worst happening, but it's too inhumane to try to organize money while he is still alive. I am speechless. My mother also has a resigned expression towards the couple's behavior.
Really, I'm disgusted. What kind of foolish people are they?
My father's surgery was successful. However, my elderly father's condition was not good, and it was a situation where we could not make any predictions. My mother and I took turns visiting my father, but my brother and his wife never showed up. Then, a week after the surgery, we received a call from the hospital.
Your father's condition has suddenly changed.
My husband, mother, and I immediately headed to the hospital. Surprisingly, my brother and his wife had arrived before us. You were early. When I told my brother that, he had a happy expression on his face for some reason.
Well, yeah.
Why would he have such an expression when his parent is in critical condition? I quickly found out the reason.
Hey, what about your father's life insurance? Can you ask your mother about it?
My sister-in-law whispered that to my brother in a low voice. In the quiet hospital room, her voice was clearly audible. I glared at my sister-in-law. But she looked puzzled and said,
What's wrong?
That stupid expression of hers made me even more angry. Then the doctor came into the room and checked on my father.
I think today is the turning point.
The doctor told us that with a stern expression, and my husband, mother, and I broke down in tears. Memories of my father raced through my mind like a flash. My mother was the same, holding my father's hand and calling out to him in a tearful voice.
Oh.
But...
Finally! We finally get it!
Yeah, now our retirement is secure.
I heard my brother and his wife's conversation. While we were grieving, They seemed to be eagerly waiting for my father to pass away. I remembered what my brother and his wife said at that time. They were thinking about their retirement. It was about my father's inheritance. The fact that they built a new house by emptying their savings, the matter of the law firm, and this statement are all connected. My mother also seemed to realize their intentions and looked at my brother and his wife with a suddenly bleak expression. They had a hyena-like appearance, glaring at their prey and eagerly waiting for it to rot. When people go beyond the peak of anger, they say that they become calm in reverse, and it's really true. My mother seemed to share the same feelings as me, and after silently looking at my brother and his wife,
Let's go outside for a moment.
we left the hospital room and decided to talk in the hospital's lounge.
You guys really don't know anything.
My mother said this while looking at them with a look of disbelief, or rather, pity.
What do you mean?
My sister-in-law seemed to notice my mother's change and her expression suddenly became stiff. My brother still had a relaxed expression, but I wonder if it's only a matter of time. My mother continued.
There is no inheritance that you guys can inherit.
What? What do you mean, Mom?
My brother's expression suddenly became tense.
There is nothing to inherit. The house and land we live in are in my name, and your father has no assets.
Come to think of it, I've heard of this before. My father was the type who didn't keep money. He had a habit of spending everything he had, and my mother managed all the household finances. The only money my father had was for his daily cigarette expenses. Except for his vague sense of money, he was a good husband and a good father, so my mother and father managed to get along reasonably well. My father didn't really have any assets to speak of, and if I had to say, he had only a few dollars for his cigarette expenses in the coin purse he always carried with him.
But he has life insurance, doesn't he?
Yes, but I am the beneficiary. It has nothing to do with you.
My mother said this sharply. First of all, my father is still alive. Yet this couple only thinks about money, mentioning life insurance. When I was about to shout at them, my mother spoke up.
First of all, your father is not a weak person who would die from something like this. He was calm when he had a motorcycle accident, when he encountered an avalanche while skiing, and when he was sick. He has overcome cancer and liver cirrhosis with his willpower. If you're talking about inheritance, shouldn't you be more concerned about your own spouse than your stepfather?
My mother laughed as she spoke to my sister-in-law, and my brother was the one who vented his anger.
Mom, I'm still alive. Don't talk about inheritance. It's inappropriate.
That's right. That's rude.
They were probably angry because they couldn't inherit anything. However,
It's the same for you. You're saying the same thing to your father now. You realize that now, don't you? You're so rude and uncivilized.
they were speechless at my mother's words and had no choice but to remain silent. And there was nothing to inherit. They were just standing there, stunned.
What should we do? We built a house and bought a car because I'll get the inheritance. How are we going to live from next month?
We did a lot of shopping on credit last month, and we still have loans for the air conditioner and refrigerator we bought when we moved.
My husband and I watched these adults in their 60s panic because they had no money. Then I quietly suggested, first of all, it's wrong to rely on money that you don't even know if you'll get. You have no planning skills. The two of them seemed to have no energy to argue with me. Then my brother spoke up.
Let's sell the house. That's the only way.
It seemed like a healthy idea, but my sister-in-law strongly objected.
No. That house is my castle. I won't sell it. We finally got a place to live in peace, and I won't give it up because of this. Oh, if your father doesn't have an inheritance, please share your mother's inheritance. Yes, let's do that. That's a good idea.
My sister-in-law said this and approached my mother.
I'm still alive.
My mother's outburst was so comical that I almost burst out laughing. But I had to hold it in. And my brother glanced at me. Help me. Do something. I could hear his voice in my head. At that moment, my husband, who is a banker, spoke up.
Why don't you consult a financial planner? If you have no income and no savings, you're in a hopeless situation.
So,
I think it's appropriate to sell the house. Fortunately, there is no mortgage, so if you sell it, you can get some cash back and live on it.
Selling the house. That's the only way to get out of this predicament. But my sister-in-law was persistent.
That's why we won't sell the house. Absolutely not. If you're going to say that, then give us your living expenses. You're siblings, aren't you?
This time, she turned her attention to us. But my husband deftly avoided it.
It's impossible. I only invest in profitable ventures.
My husband's words, who has been working in the loan department for many years, were convincing. Even if there was a return, I would never invest in such a couple. As we were talking like this, the doctor called my mother. Finally, the time had come. I was prepared for it. When my mother returned from the hospital room, she said,
It may be bad news for you. Your father has regained consciousness.
She said this while giving a cold stare at my brother and his wife. My husband and I were relieved by my mother's words and tears flowed down our cheeks. My brother and his wife no longer cared about my father's condition since they realized that they would not inherit anything. But perhaps they were trying to pretend to be his children.
Dad, that's great.
Yes, you're right.
They said such insincere things. When my husband and I entered the hospital room after my mother, my brother and his wife followed us with innocent faces. My mother stopped them just before they entered.
You guys are fine. You're making me sick with the smell of money. If you have time to visit, think about your life starting tomorrow.
She said this and shooed them away like stray dogs. And she ended with this.
I'll send you this message. Thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become habits, habits become character, and character becomes destiny.
My brother and his wife were stunned by my mother's sudden speech.
Huh.
In short, your thoughts ultimately determined your destiny. Unless you change your thinking, your destiny won't change. Stop here and think carefully. Think about how foolish, ugly, and pitiful your actions are.
With that, my mother closed the door to the hospital room. It was also a manifestation of my mother's determination to break away from her son. After that, my brother and his wife had to sell their house. They sold their newly built house and land for less than a quarter of the $400,000 they paid for it, just half a year after they put it up for sale. This was because it was discovered that the ground in the area was quite fragile just after they bought the house, and land prices plummeted. Furthermore, the surrounding houses were also put up for sale, and because there was an oversupply, buyers only offered very low prices. However, they had no choice but to sell the house, and they reluctantly decided to do so. The unemployed couple had only a small amount of cash left to spend their old age with. It is likely that the money will run out before they start receiving their pension in 5 years. My brother works as a day laborer to earn daily wages, and my sister-in-law works part-time. It's a ridiculous story that people self-destruct by relying on their parents' inheritance. I hope they can feel the weight of my mother's words.
There are surprisingly many stories like that. In the end, when people become obsessed with money, they can't make sound judgments. A customer I had before said, "When my parents die, I'll use the inheritance to pay off my mortgage, so please set it up for 20 years. There are many people like that.
It seems that there are many such people in the world. It's really a problem. Bankers seem to deal with all kinds of people, and I think it's really a tough job.
There are many more stories. Well, I can't say them out loud because of confidentiality.
Maybe I should let my husband be the next storyteller. He might have even more interesting stories to tell. Just kidding.
How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.
You should stop seeing this person.
I went to my parents' house with my fiancé to greet them for our marriage. The room fell silent when my 9-year-old niece spoke up. What do you mean? My niece stared at me seriously. Her words made me uneasy because she had a mysterious power to predict the future. Then, she said something that shocked me even more. My name is Nova. I'm 33 years old, and I'm single. I'm a primary school teacher and have been working hard at my job for a long time, but I've recently started to think about getting married and starting a family. I have an older sister who is 3 years older than me and a cute 9-year-old niece named Jana. Every time I see her, I feel a strong desire to have children. At that time, I met Logan, who was 2 years older than me and worked for a major construction company. At a matchmaking party I decided to attend. We hit it off from the start, and we started dating with the intention of getting married. Meeting him was like a ray of sunshine in my life, which had been all work and no play. However, things began to change after we had been dating for a year. At first, we exchanged emails every day, but gradually, his replies became less frequent. Our weekly dates became once a month, and he went on long business trips, so we couldn't see each other for weeks. But we're both adults now. This is just a sign that our relationship is settling down. I told myself that and tried to get through the anxious days. Then, when I was able to talk to Logan slowly after a long time.
I'm sorry I haven't been able to see you lately.
I know you have work. It can't be helped.
I haven't even been able to greet your parents yet.
As I watched him look apologetic, I felt a little happy that he cared about me even though he was busy. However, after that, Logan made an unexpected proposal.
But I want to be prepared for everything. I'm thinking of investing in real estate to increase our marriage funds. What do you think?
What? Even if you say that suddenly. Isn't that something that can also cause losses? Wouldn't it be better to save money steadily?
That's so like you, Nova. Actually, my boss and colleagues are also making profits from investments. You know, because of our job, we have easy access to information about land and apartments.
Logan explained the appeal of real estate investment with sparkling eyes. When he said that, I started to feel that he might be right, but I couldn't answer him right away. Okay, I understand. I'll let you know when I make up my mind.
Thank you. But timing is also important for investments, so please decide within a week. Let's increase our assets and go on a round-the-world honeymoon.
After much deliberation, I saw him frolicking innocently and transferred $10,000 to his account as a down payment 3 days later. Of course, I wasn't completely at ease with giving Logan such a large sum of money, but I trusted the person I had decided to spend my life with. After that, we continued to date smoothly, and he proposed to me formally. When it was decided that we would go to my parents' house to greet them, my sister called me.
I'll come with my daughter that day. Jana will help you evaluate your boyfriend.
Well, Please be gentle with him. I replied jokingly to my sister's comment with a laugh. In fact, my 9-year-old niece has a mysterious power and has predicted many things before. For example, on the day before my parents, sister, niece, and I went on a trip together, Jana said,
I have a bad feeling, so let's not go on the trip.
We canceled the trip in a hurry. Then, a large fire broke out at the hotel where we were supposed to stay. Furthermore, my sister divorced her ex-husband because of his infidelity, which was revealed when my niece said,
Daddy, he's meeting a woman I don't know.
My sister investigated half-heartedly and questioned her ex-husband, who confessed to his infidelity and led to their divorce. I never dreamed that my niece's ability would reveal such a shocking truth. And then came the day of the meeting my parents for the first time. When the doorbell rang and I opened the door, Logan, who looked nervous, was standing there.
Nice to meet you. I'm Logan Smith. I've been dating Nova with the intention of getting married.
I'm Nova's father. Take care of my daughter.
Hello. I'm Chloe, Nova's sister. Logan, don't be so stiff and relax.
The atmosphere in the room became relaxed thanks to my sister's cheerful tone, and the conversation became lively. I was relieved too. However, when I looked at my niece, she had a complicated expression on her face. Huh? Jana, why do you look so unhappy? My niece seemed to want to say something, but when Logan got up to go to the bathroom, she opened her mouth as if she had been waiting for him.
You should stop seeing this person,
Jana said firmly, and I couldn't shake off my unease. What do you mean?
Nova, you're being deceived. If you keep going like this, he'll take all your money.
At that moment, I was struck by a shock like being hit on the head with a hammer, and my sister, who saw me like that, looked worried and peered into my face.
Nova, you're not giving Logan money or anything, are you?
I told my sister about the real estate investment with fear and trembling at her sharp words. Then, the happy mood from earlier disappeared, and the air in the room became tense.
For now, let's get through this as if nothing happened.
Father proposed quickly and everyone nodded in agreement. When Logan returned to the living room, everyone pretended to be calm.
It was good to see you today.
Thank you for taking the time to meet me. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Logan bowed politely and left my parents' house without noticing anything. After seeing him off, I returned to the room, and Jana opened her mouth apologetically.
I'm sorry, Nova. But I still don't like that person.
No matter what happens, we're on Nova's side. We'll help if we can.
As if agreeing with Father's strong words, Mother squeezed my hand tightly. Thank you. I want to believe that it's just a mistake, but something's not right. I want to believe in him, but I've already given him a lot of money, and the frequency of our meetings has decreased. If he is trying to cheat me out of my money, it is unforgivable. There's no point in worrying. I decided to take action to uncover the truth myself. First, I decided to investigate Logan's workplace, which I had never doubted before. I called the company he had told me about and asked about him, but they said, there is no employee with that name. It turned out that he had lied about working for a major construction company. I believed him. Was he lying after all? The happy days I had spent with him came to mind vividly, but the truth in front of me seemed to tell me that it was all an illusion. I was looking forward to marrying Logan, but anger surged up inside me that surpassed that feeling. At that time, Logan, who knew nothing, contacted me.
Can we meet this weekend? Real estate investment is going really well. Why don't you invest a little more?
He proposed further investment, and for now, I decided to go along with it and meet him.
Wow, I'm surprised. A round-the-world honeymoon is no longer a dream.
Logan was in high spirits as soon as we met at the coffee shop. What are you talking about? You're so shameless. I muttered that in my mind and smiled broadly. Wow, that's amazing. You're really something.
I'm going to do it too. So, how much can you invest?
He said proudly and immediately brought up the topic of additional funds. That's all I have this month. Sorry, but can Logan cover the rest? It'll be for both of us, so it's okay, right? I handed him $300 with a straight face and watched his reaction.
What? Is this all you have?
He expressed his dissatisfaction and immediately became upset. It can't be helped. I'll try harder next time to give you more. Well then, I'll be going.
Ah, yeah.
I said brightly and quickly said, goodbye, to him. Then I jumped into my sister's car, which was parked in the shadow of the shop. Thank you. Is Jana okay?
She's fine. I left her at our parents' house. Let's go.
Actually, I had asked my sister for help in advance and we were going to follow Logan in her car. It's interesting to see where he's going after giving him $300. After a while, he came out of the shop and got into his car and left. When we followed him, we found out that he had arrived at a casino. I can't believe it. What kind of investment is this? Did he use my money for gambling? My sister and I were quite angry with him, so we continued to follow him for about an hour to make sure we didn't lose him. And then, at the next place Logan went to, I witnessed another shocking fact.
No mercy anymore.
Yep, just watch. So I decided to confront Logan, who was a repeat offender. When my sister called him to ask about his interest in real estate investment, he became very happy and decided to come to my parents' house that weekend.
Chloe, do you want to try investing?
On the day of the meeting, Logan, who came reluctantly, began to talk enthusiastically about the appeal of investment as soon as he entered the house. My sister also matched his tone perfectly.
But is there really such a good deal?
Oh, everyone says that at first. But please have the courage to take the first step.
His appearance of passionately talking about the lie of investment was comical, and I couldn't help but look at my sister's face. I want you to tell me something. Where did the $10,300 I gave you go? When I asked him in a strong tone, Logan seemed a little surprised.
Where else? It's obviously invested in real estate.
Oh, really? I saw you go to the casino after I gave you $300 last time.
What? Were you following me? I used my money there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I expected that, so I decided to take the next step. And you lied about working for a major construction company. I called the company you told me about. Logan began to look around nervously.
You're doing something dirty.
Who's the dirty one here?
If it comes to this, I'll sue you for defamation.
No matter what I said to him, he was useless, and I couldn't get through to him. So I signaled my sister, and she brought a couple of men and women from the next room. Logan didn't seem to know the man, but as soon as he saw the woman, his face stiffened. The woman was glaring at him with anger.
Why is Amelia here?
Actually, Amelia is Logan's wife. The place he went to after leaving the casino was the house where he lived with his wife and children. I realized everything and visited their house when he wasn't there and told Amelia everything about me and Logan. At first, she didn't believe me, but when I showed her photos I had taken with Logan, she understood. Actually, Amelia is the daughter of a wealthy family, and Logan works for a subsidiary of her father's company. They probably got married for money.
Logan, you said you would be with me, but you were already married and had children. Your wife already knows everything.
Nova, what did you do?
Logan held his head in his hands, tears in his eyes, looking pathetic. Amelia was glaring at him with eyes that seemed to see him as something dirty and was talking to the man next to her.
I'm Taylor, a lawyer. Your wife wants a divorce because of your betrayal. Can you agree to a divorce?
Amelia, I'm sorry. I won't do it again, so please don't divorce me.
When Logan clung to Amelia and wouldn't let go, Lawyer Taylor quietly separated them and said in a businesslike tone,
It's clear that you're at fault. If you don't agree to a divorce, there's no choice but to take legal action.
Logan finally calmed down and reluctantly signed the divorce papers. Amelia said,
"Goodbye forever,"
and left. Logan was so shocked that he stood there for a while, but then he turned to me and raised his voice.
You're the reason we're getting divorced. What are you going to do about it? I'll never forgive you.
What? Logan is the one at fault, right? I'll also demand compensation for breaking off the engagement.
Hey, that's impossible.
Logan sneered at me as if I were stupid.
No, it's definitely possible.
At the perfect timing, the lawyer intervened and handed me the documents necessary for claiming compensation.
You heard it, right? Now sign here.
It's better to settle with compensation. Nova can also sue you.
Logan grumbled while signing.
Is this good enough? I can't believe this happened. I was going to take more money from you.
He continued to swear at me without remorse. You haven't learned anything, have you? I know everything. You have a criminal record, don't you?
What? Why are you bringing that up?
As soon as I found out you were married, I filed a police report. I heard you were arrested for marriage fraud at that time. You might not be able to avoid a prison sentence this time. Good luck. Logan immediately began to tremble and changed his attitude, apologizing to me.
I was wrong. I don't want to get caught. Please withdraw the complaint.
No. Reflect on what you've done.
I told him that and left the rest to the lawyer, leaving the scene. As expected, Logan ended up in police custody for a while. I demanded $20,000 in compensation and the $10,300 I had given him. He also divorced Amelia and paid $30,000 in compensation, and lost his job. Even if he comes out of prison in the future, he will have a difficult life. On the other hand, with the support of my warm family, I started a new life. By the way, the other day,
Nova, you'll have a good encounter.
I'm excited about it.
How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.